Welcome to Blitz Recap. Today, we have a unique and mind-bending film to dissect, Symbol, a 2009 comedy, fantasy, and mystery masterpiece. Spoilers await, so proceed with caution. Our story begins with a Japanese man, clad in vibrant pajamas, who awakens in an entirely white, windowless room. There are no doors or apparent ceilings, but there is something unusual protruding from the walls, these bizarre, phallic-like protrusions. Intrigued and bewildered, he can't resist investigating them. As he touches one, something incredible happens. The room is suddenly filled with the laughter of baby angels that pop in and out of existence, leaving only their members sticking out of the walls and floor. Frightened by this surreal experience, our protagonist cries out for help, but his pleas go unanswered. Determined to make sense of his situation, he decides to experiment with these enigmatic buttons. Every press results in the sudden appearance of a random object, ranging from toothbrushes to large vases. However, his amusement is short-lived as one button summons a small cart that collides with his legs, and another button manifests a flatulent posterior. Hours pass, and the room is cluttered with a bizarre assortment of random objects. Hungry and eager to satisfy his craving, he throws a ball against the wall, triggering a button that conjures sushi, albeit without soy sauce. Frustration mounts as he desperately appeals to his unseen captors for soy sauce, receiving only silence in return. He angrily pushes the sushi aside and presses another button, revealing a pair of old-school 3D glasses. When he puts them on, he sees a baby angel pointing at his own member, filling him with hope that he's discovered a solution. However, pressing that particular button brings forth nothing but a countdown and a giant butt that releases gas directly onto him. He reads 5 volumes of manga for entertainment, but hits a stumbling block when he attempts to retrieve the 6th volume. Instead, he receives the 7th, a source of deep frustration. His efforts to get the elusive 6th volume result in him obtaining the 8th and 9th instead. However, his luck changes when he stumbles upon a button that unveils a hidden door behind a section of the wall. His excitement is palpable, but in his haste, he loses track of which button opens the exit. He tries one at random, and to his astonishment, an African tribesman dashes from wall to wall. The next button creates an overhead water cascade, and the third button finally reveals the one he seeks, opening the exit door. He makes a break for it, but the door slams shut in his face. Frustration mounts as his subsequent attempts yield the same result. It dawns on him that the door only remains open as long as the member tip is held down. His quest becomes finding a way to keep the button pressed. He tries various methods, such as pulling it with a jump rope or using a fan to create airflow, also lead to failure. His next scheme involves using a cart to push the button, but control proves elusive. He realizes that the solution is to weigh down the button, and his first attempt involves water. However, it backfires, and he's drenched while the button remains unpressed. Sushi becomes his next choice, but the weight of the food makes the vase too heavy to lift. The vase's narrow neck compounds the problem, forcing him to use chopsticks to empty it piece by piece. With the vase light enough to manage, he carries it back to the buttons but loses track of the correct one. He presses a button and is greeted by the African tribesman, causing the vase to crack and shatter. Frustration boils over as he desperately attempts various solutions, like covering the button with tape, followed by a steel plate, to no avail. Painkillers ease the agony caused by the door repeatedly striking his back, and a nap offers a brief respite. Still, he longs to brush his teeth, so he presses a button, hoping for water. Instead, a rope descends from the ceiling, sparking a new plan. He attempts to swing across the room using the rope to reach the exit door, but to his dismay, he finds it locked. He races back to the room before the door seals him in, only to be struck as it closes. Devastated, he kicks the wall in frustration, inadvertently triggering a button that releases the African tribesman. As he watches the tribesman pass by, he notices something extraordinary. There are 3 numbers painted on the tribesman's forehead, presumably the combination he needs to unlock the door. Successfully opens the door, but it's a challenge to push it fully ajar, given the limited space. Crestfallen, he sits on the floor, reminiscing about the fun he had with the buttons and their quirky outcomes. He had been confined, but at least he had room to move and sources of entertainment. Suddenly, a breeze brushes his face from the left wall, revealing a concealed crack. Without hesitation, he pushes the panel open and runs into a mysterious hallway suspended in a pitch-black void. He spends what feels like an eternity running towards an exit, and when he finally reaches a room, his appearance has changed. His hair has grown long, and the colors of his pajamas have faded. The room is empty, with a door that closes as he enters. Here, adult angels replace the baby angels, revealing only their members for use as buttons. This marks the practice phase. The man in the mysterious room unwittingly activates a member button, causing Escargot Man's neck to magically extend, knocking out both adversaries with a single headbutt. Meanwhile, in the room, nothing appears to change. Puzzled and determined, the man begins experimenting with various buttons, each resulting in a peculiar and often chaotic event worldwide. One button makes a metal band singer breathe fire during a Los Angeles concert, another causes a Russian magician's trick to go awry as he attempts to make his assistant disappear, and a third makes a man in China bark at his own dogs. Ready to give up, he notices light filtering in from above and realizes there's no ceiling, allowing him to see angels soaring in the distance. Determined to take a different approach, he decides to climb the walls using the member buttons. With each press, he becomes a cosmic conductor. As he reaches the pinnacle, the man's appearance undergoes a profound transformation. His hair and beard grow long, and he no longer needs to hold onto the wall. He can now float like the angels, and with his newfound mastery of the buttons, he assumes the role of a deity, deliberately shaping humanity's greatest accomplishments instead of randomly triggering buttons. When he's finished, he's enveloped by feathers instead of walls and enters a luminous portal that transports him to the final room. This room is adorned with depictions of the continents on its walls and a colossal member button that the man is about to press. This marks the future phase of his surreal journey.